All right, Matt, we're live. This is episode 31 of InfoSec to Insanity, Thursday night, 8 o'clock my time. Was it 9 o'clock your time?
Good evening, Evan. Yes, it is 9 o'clock here in the central
Good
time
evening, Evan.
zone.
You seem so noble. You should put on like a suit or something talking to me like that.
I had a jacket on today. We had a thing, so
Yeah, where are you at right now?
I am in northern Wisconsin. Actually, I'm getting ready. Tomorrow we'll start turkey hunting. So come up in the woods, get out of the city, enjoy nature. Hopefully,
All right.
bag a turkey.
They got bandwidth there.
Well, so I actually steal from the neighbor.
Attaboy.
He he's a he's a good friend. I didn't ask him, but he wouldn't care. So we basically I brought an extra router up here and just tethered it to his network because it reaches right into the window here. So we're
Yeah,
just tethered right off of it. He's got
very cool,
Starlink.
man. Starlink. What kind of bandwidth are you getting?
I actually haven't checked. Let me run a test while we start going.
Well,
How have
yeah,
you been this last week?
Where are you going? It's been a crazy week, man. You know, the topic for the podcast, the topic, yeah, I guess the theme is this.
We're starting
This
a
blog
mini
post.
series, right?
Well, it's turned into that because so Friday morning I do the CVCSO podcast with some friends, and that one goes really well. So Friday morning, and we rotate who gets to choose the topic on that podcast. So I jumped on, and it's like, all right, what are we talking about? And they're like, I don't know, Evan, it's your topic. I'm like, oh shit, really? And then they said, yeah. And I had heard from somebody else that May was Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I was like, all right, let's talk about that. So, we had an amazing discussion. And it really got me thinking afterwards, like, man, a month isn't enough. I have my own issues, and I got friends who have issues, and I'm like, I got to write something. So I wrote this blog post, and that's the theme for tonight. And the title of the blog post is "We're Not Okay, and That's Okay to Say Out Loud." But as I was writing that, I got to thinking about, your mind just kind of races sometimes. So I was thinking about all these other things like ADHD, what it's like to be the person who's supposed to be strong all the time. When people, you're just always supposed to be the strong guy. And sometimes you're not. Sometimes if I get one more damn problem,
Correct.
yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so then I got to thinking about that. I got to thinking about our addiction things, and so what originally was like, hey, Evan, it's your podcast episode topic tonight this morning, to like, I got 10, 11 blog posts, so the one blog post became a series of blog posts. So there's this one, which we're going to talk about tonight. And then the next episode, the next blog post was strong on the outside, dying on the inside, which I feel, if I'm going to be, the whole point here is for me to be honest with people, for me to be honest with you as my friend, to be honest with, I think, because one thing I learned from posting that blog post and then on LinkedIn is, so many people have reached out to me. Like, thank you. I needed to hear that, or, I've got my own issues, and I've got friends that have been texting me and calling me, and it's like, okay. So it kind of opened a can of worms. So
it's like, this is the part of corporate America that never gets addressed. I don't know if it's a company thing, a leadership thing. I don't think we know, and it's probably different everywhere, maybe. But I think you're right, and people don't want to talk about it because it's
right.
taboo still, probably.
Well, the stigma is bullshit. We've done a podcast episode on that,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's it's not just corporate America. It's in people's homes. It's in friendships. It's everywhere where people don't talk about things that matter. So
Do you
that
think it's
inspired.
getting worse
I don't know.
with like
Honestly.
COVID?
I did do, part of writing, some of the blog posts. My gut tells me it's getting worse, but trying to find data to support that. The data is shit. I mean, the latest like suicide numbers you can find are from like 3 years ago. I mean, it's like, who's keeping track, of this stuff? But the inspiration for that blog post led to Strong on the Outside, Dying on the Inside. That's already been posted to my blog. And that one got a wild reaction too, man. Just a lot of people like, dude, I know what that feels like. And so then the next one, and so we're going to do each blog post that I publish is going to be an episode. So this will turn into a series. This one, which we'll get to in a minute, next week, it's going to be, Strong on the Outside, Dying on the Inside, which is already up on the blog. So you can go read it. The next one is the ADHD mind in a 24/7 world. I think a lot of people don't understand what ADHD is. And I think a lot of people say they have ADHD, and I don't think they actually do have ADHD. I think a lot of people claim they have ADHD and they're like it's cool. Like it's cool to have ADHD.
It's like a cop out.
Well, if you have ADHD, for damn, it ain't fucking cool. This world wasn't built for ADHD people. You know what I mean? You're forced to adjust. A lot of time, people don't, they don't get you. It's lonely. It's, yeah, I mean, and it's not all negative all the time, right? I mean, there's certainly some things. And I spent the whole weekend basically writing. I've pre-written all 11 of these blog posts. I'm only publishing like a couple a week. And then we only do these podcasts once a week, right? So you'll be able to read the blog post before we do the show. But as I was reading, because I was sharing it with my wife, because I thought, this is a real quiet time. I was just getting honest, brutally honest. And the next one, the one next week, the ADHD mind in a 24/7 world, as I was sharing that with her, I was crying.
I remember you messaging me, telling me about like what you were feeling going through the process.
Yeah. It was therapeutic on the one hand. It was also, it was a mix of emotions, man. There was anger, frustration, sadness, gratefulness, whatever. But it was a great exercise for my own, therapy. So the one after that is addiction isn't just drugs and booze. You and I both have addiction problems. We can talk. And that's what all these blog posts are about. They're just my own personal struggles, because another thing that came from this is, multiple people have urged me to write an ebook about this. And I started to do that. And then I was like wrestling with it. I'm like, I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to write a damn ebook about mental health. But that's part of the bullshit. You don't have to be qualified.
What it's going to take.
You don't have to be qualified to speak what's on your mind. You don't have to be qualified to share what you're struggling with. Sorry, I interrupted you, man. What do you got?
No, I was trying to interrupt you. I'm perfect at that. So like,
you're good.
I think maybe that's what we need is someone to do that, because everyone else is qualified and they're just not speaking the same language as the normal people. So maybe it will resonate different when you do it.
I think so. I think because one of the things that I think is important in this stuff is people being able to see themselves in your story, because then it reassures them that, if Evan can talk about it, I can talk about it. If Matt can talk about it, I can talk about it. Whereas like if a therapist talks about it, well, you expect a damn therapist to talk about it. And the thing about a therapist is a therapist has never run a damn company. A therapist has never
Well,
been
and
in the
also
information security industry for 30 fucking years. You don't know what it's like to be in this head of mine.
also like they're in a room, right? So it part like you're generally talking to them in a separate room on your own. So it almost is designed to keep it siloed because you're not talking about it openly. Like doing it the way you're doing it, we're doing it, others are doing it is it's open versus, one on one.
Right. Right. And I think, you know, and we'll talk about that, because that's really the central point to tonight's is, we're not okay is, and it's okay to say it out loud, is we don't share it. We don't talk about it. When I call my friends, I talk to my friends regularly. Hey, how you doing? I'm good, man. How you doing? I'm good, man. Like every fucking week is good. Are you shitting me? What drug are you taking? Because I want it. But I get it. I do the same thing. When my friends call me, hey man, how you doing? I'm good. I'm good.
So
I'm
I
good.
didn't exercise this week in the office. The few days I was there, people were asking me in the morning, "How you doing?" Instead of saying I'm good, I said I'm stressed, and like they didn't know how to answer. It
Right.
takes people for a loop because
Yeah.
everyone expects everybody to just say I'm good. It's a pleasantry. Like go on with your day. It's just like a thing.
Right. Right. Yeah. We're gonna get to that. So
Yeah.
the third one, addiction isn't just drugs and booze. The fourth one is burnout looks different than you think. I've talked about burnout before. I've been in burnout before. You know, it's it's weird. It's dark. It's lonely. It's shitty. There's a purpose. There's a reason why you get there. And so we'll talk about that in the fourth episode of this series. The fifth episode of this series is titled "Check on Your Strong Friends." It's the
Oh,
strong ones
snap.
that are. It's the strong ones who like. I don't need to check on Evan. He's always good, man. That dude's strong as fuck. He can handle anything. And then when I wrote that one actually I cried too because you know I've been there. On the surface, everything's great, and you got to keep that facade up a little bit, because you don't want to cause panic with your teams and shit like that. But, deep down, you're just, yeah, you're fucked, basically. So
You're
when we
just
talk about that, we'll
fried.
talk
Yeah.
fried and lonely, angry, frustrated, lost. I mean, those are all words that come to mind. The sixth one is healing isn't linear. And this is really about, you know, it's, you have your ups and downs. In my own alcohol, I'll use that one because that's an easy example that people can relate to. I've relapsed a couple times, right? It's not like, okay, I'm healed, and everything's good, or you flip some kind of switch. It's a lot of work and it's all worth it. But there are times when you trip, you fall down, you
Addiction's
backtrack.
forever.
Addiction, and same with mental health shit,
Yeah.
right? There's some days with ADHD where, yeah, things are fucking awesome, man. I'm clicking. There's some days where I can't figure out the next thing I'm supposed to do. I just sit there, stare at the fucking wall, like. And then when I do figure out like the thing I should do, I lost all my motivation for it. I don't feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So healing isn't linear is the sixth one. The seventh one is real help looks like ... And this is, you know, I'm pro therapy. I'm pro professionals. We need them. We need more of them. Actually, we don't have enough. But when I talk to a friend or I share something or they share something with me, real help looks like not fixing them. I don't want advice. A lot of times I just want to feel like I'm not alone, like you hear me, you see me, you love me. That's good enough. You know what I mean? I, I certainly don't need you to tell me or point out the shit that I did wrong to get in the spot that I'm in. I already fucking know that. You know what I mean? So that'll be a fun episode where we talk about what real help looks like. Then masculinity and mental health. I'm not, I'm not against the femininity and mental health. I'm just not a woman, so I can't speak to that. This is all my own personal, struggles. So, masculinity and mental health, there's things that come with being a man that only men are going to get.
It's just
You
like
know,
evolution, nature. Those
yeah, I'm
things.
supposed to fit a certain persona. I'm treated a certain way, and supposed to act like a man up, button up, get shit together. Fuck, I don't even. Yeah, that's a fun one. And then the ninth one is leading with vulnerability, and then the one after that, the last one will be why we're all so damn lonely. So those are going to be the 10 podcast episodes that we're gonna work through.
And
the
we're
cool
gonna
thing
have
is,
some guests along the way.
yeah, we are going to have some guests. It's hard to have the guests yet because I think as I get more blog posts posted, then they'll know more about what I'm actually talking about. And because I had some friends that I was going to reach out to see if they wanted to come and join us, but I don't have anything to show them yet. But soon, because the next one's dropping. So the 2 blog posts that have been posted is this one. We're not okay, and it's okay to say it out loud. And the other one that is posted already is strong on the outside, dying on the inside. And then the next one, the ADHD mind in a 24/7 world, that one's tomorrow morning. So if you follow evanfrancine.com, if you follow the blog, you'll see that one. And then I think addiction isn't just drugs and booze. I think it's maybe Monday or Tuesday. I just had to schedule them. I just had to spread them out,
I think it's gonna be great. These are all things that we need more talking about.
Yeah, man.
And it's very timely with my life right now as well.
And it turns out me too. I didn't realize it, but after I posted that, I've had multiple friends reach out. It's dirty shit, like especially like the strong on the outside. Well, both of them. The one that got the most, I think, was the we're not okay, and it's okay to say out loud, because I think a lot of people just feel like they can't share, they can't get it out. Nobody's going to care, or you're going to hold it against me, or judge me, whatever the fuck it is.
Place, or it's not the proper thing to say, or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I mean, think of the excuses, man, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But the I keep saying that, but trust me, it's coming. But the one that today got a lot of, discussion from, my peers was, strong on the outside, dying on the inside. Because I had a friend of mine that I talked to today, and, the prototypical tough guy, always taking on shit, always reliable, always dependable, always just like the rock. He's a great friend to have. But he was, he called me and he was, he's struggling right now. His marriage is struggling right now. Finances are struggling right now. He's taking on more than he can do. So he's plate is full right now, and he's trying to figure out like, the fuck, And I'm like, I go, did you read my blog post? He goes, yeah, I did. I'm like, yeah. So at least maybe that's why he called me, because at least I can empathize with it. I know what it's like, I know, and I also know when I was there what I wanted to hear, what I didn't want to hear, what helped and what didn't help, So that was good. It was, and if you wouldn't have reached out, I wouldn't have ever known. Which brings us back to tonight's topic about we're not okay, and it's okay to say that out loud. And I don't want to be I'm not a drama guy. I'm not a drama queen. Like, I'm not saying like, if you say you're okay, I'm not like, bullshit, you're not okay. Nobody's okay. That's not what I'm saying.
You're a liar.
Yeah. You don't purposely manufacture crisis in your life, but
addicts do that though.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Tell me about it. We're good at that. But but when I say, we're not okay, like I gave you one example. If I talk to you every week and I say, how you doing? Or I talk to you every day, you're a coworker. How you doing? I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. If it's always fucking, I'm great. How the fuck can that be? And it's not that you have to share everything with me, but I'm concerned that you're like me and I'm telling you everything's okay and it's not okay. I'm struggling. I don't know what I'm struggling. Sometimes I don't even know what the fuck I'm struggling with. I just know I'm struggling. Shit ain't right. I don't feel good. I don't know. Like, are you mad? I don't fucking know if I'm mad. Do I seem mad?
You're raising your voice at me. You must be mad. No, I'm frustrated. I don't know what's going on with me.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just that, right? So I wrote this blog post out of my own frustration, my own, like, when typically, I have a tendency that when things are not okay, I isolate. It's a default for me. Part of that is because I grew up an only child. I'm really comfortable being alone. I don't find security in other people being around me. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes difficult. One, it's difficult for other people to pick up on it for me. And two, if that's where I go with my default, it's easy for me to keep it silent. So I do keep things silent more than I should. And the sad thing is every time I do actually open up and share something, I always feel better every single fucking time. But yet in my mind, I come up with excuses like, oh, they're too busy, or, they won't care anyway, or it's not as bad as it really is. It's just going to go away. It's just a phase. It's just whatever the fuck, you just come up with all these excuses to not say anything.
I call that, so for me, I call that sitting in self beat up. So, like, instead of acknowledging that's going on or talking to somebody, because I wasn't an only child, but like we were so far apart, we pretty much were. Like, you don't have anyone to talk to, so you just deal with everything that you have going on by yourself, and it's almost like you got to put yourself through this process in order to make yourself like come out of it. And I totally do the same thing you do.
I think a lot of people do. I mean, there's some reason. I mean, I must have hit a nerve somewhere with a whole bunch of people, because a whole bunch of people reached out. A whole bunch of people, reacted to it. So that reassures me that, one, it reassures me that I'm not alone in this, that other people do this too. And two, it makes me sad because how many people are sitting out there that are in that same boat? Like, I can't share, I won't share, or whatever it is. So I think the goal of this episode is to break this illusion. It's to strip away the bullshit. And it's for us to get real, about our mental, emotional state, spiritual, whatever.
It's uncomfortable to be real. A lot of people, in my experience, I've seen, they don't want to get there. And that's something I think that might have to be taken into consideration on the journey, is that we are here, we're talking about the things, but some people are not there yet. So they might not be ready, and some people will never be ready, and you can't like force them either.
No, that's the thing. At the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. Like when my friends piss me off, I can just leave. When I piss myself off, I can't leave. I'm still here.
Like that.
I'm still here. I want to get away from myself, but I can't get away from myself because I am myself, and fuck, I don't like myself, or whatever. So but I know there's other people that go through this. I know there are other people who struggle. So if we can inspire even just one person listens to the blog post, or, reads the blog post, listens to this, listens to a podcast episode, and it inspires them to get the help they need, or inspires them to, live a better life. Fuck, it's all worth it, man. You know what I mean? Not to mention the benefits that I got in going through the process myself. I mean, writing these blog posts, really, it was like picking some scabs a little bit. It was an eye-opening experience, but it was good for me. And it's ironic because this week was in any other week, just by the stuff, in my life, this would have been a shit week. I had 7 guests here at my house. They brought a dog. So I had 7 guests, 6 dogs, and my wife isn't here.
Oh,
my wife's on a trip with her friend, just a girls trip. So I have 7 guests, 6 dogs, no wife. It's a dangerous place. And then
I don't know how you're surviving. That sounds like a lot.
I honestly think, man, because then there was other shit. Like there's some work shit, going on, which is, sort of normal-ish. And then, friends reaching out with their own mental health issues, and working, taking that in. And then one of the CISP mentor program instructors was supposed to create the lesson for this week, which is on cryptography. And he
That's
texted,
the boring one.
I like that one, but he texted like the day before it was due, that he's got some personal issues and he won't be able to get it done. And so I'm like, fuck, man, that's 20 hours of work, to do that, to put that together. So somehow trying to find 20 hours of work. So all these things, in any other week, this would have been like a shit week. But I think working through the writing of these mental health things actually put me in a pretty good spot mentally to handle it. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel angry, frustrated, nothing like that. I feel mentally I'm in a pretty good spot right now.
It
kind of crazy.
Recharged you and prepared you.
And help you put it in perspective. Like, it's not the end of the world. 7 people, they can probably entertain themselves a little bit. 5 dogs to 6 dogs,
just
whatever.
4 more
just
legs,
more,
whatever.
Just more shit to pick up, more piss.
Are they getting along with each other at least?
They left this morning, so they're gone now.
Oh.
So problem solved. Yeah. But I think so, stripping away the bullshit, getting real about, mental, emotional, spiritual weight we carry, especially in information security and cybersecurity, our industry, in leadership. You and I are both leaders. There's unique things that come with that, and just everyday life. Like I said, I can't run away from myself. So if I got work struggles or, my mental health issues at work, you can't separate that shit from what's happening at home.
You're supposed to, but it's not possible.
I don't know why anybody came up with that. Like leave work at work.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that shit?
I mean, if you work in a factory and you build a part, put it on the shelf and go home, you can probably
let's say you just had a terrible fucking day at the factory. Nothing went right.
I mean, yeah, I suppose.
People were treating you like shit. You're just going to go home and it's all going to be good?
No.
I mean, you still got to process.
Fair. I was thinking more about the work, not the other things.
Yeah. So this first part, let's talk about the lie that we tell. This lie that we say, I'm fine. You've done it. I've done it. Everybody's done it.
Why do you think we do it?
That's a great question. I'm open to all kinds of ideas. I think for me,
Midwest
a lot of times I'll do it because I don't want to be a burden to somebody else. sometimes I don't want to do it because I'm sort of in this ignorance mindset. Like I'm just trying to ignore it. And if I have to talk to you about it, I got to bring it up again. You know, the last thing I want to talk, sometimes the last thing I want to talk about, you know, if I'm in a mentally shitty spot, sometimes the last thing I want to talk about is my mentally shitty spot. You know, sometimes I want to run, you know, or I mean, I used to medicate, you know, that's kind of off the table now. But, you know, I think we just wear these masks, you know, for whatever reasons. Sometimes I'm not really a guy who's afraid of what people think of me, but I know that a lot of people are, you know, like if somebody shares like, you know, I'm having some struggles, I'm depressed or whatever, that somebody else might take advantage of it. Somebody else might judge you for it. Somebody else might treat you like you're less than you want them to think about you, maybe. But the truth is, I mean, for whatever reason, we do lie. We lie to each other. We lie to ourselves.
Lie to ourselves first. Yeah.
Yeah. And for some reason in this society, we call that being strong. You know, I think about my son, you know, and I've used that story before, you know, police officer, and I asked if you've got mental health, you know, resources you can use. And he's like, yeah, but nobody uses them. I'm like, why doesn't anybody use them? Well, because it goes on your record. You know, it's going to, you know, when the next promotion comes up, it might disqualify me for that next promotion, which is like so fucking twisted. If anything, it should be a credit to you because it shows that you're being honest. It shows that you're a person of integrity. You're not trying to hide things. And I'd rather promote somebody who's going out there and taking care of their mental health as opposed to somebody who's not, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. I actually was up and down in my therapy experiences. I always feel like I get to a certain point and then I'm smarter than them. Like I know what they're going to say already and it's not helpful. Right. But I actually had, even though I didn't like my leaders in the Marine Corps, one of them was attentive enough to send me to therapy after we had come back from Afghanistan. And it's not like shit was crazy or anything, but I had real anger issues. Like I would PlayStation controllers, they're black. Our rooms were white. I had a lot of black marks on my wall from busting so many controllers, and they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, yeah, like I did this." They're like, "All right." So they actually sent me, and it was cool that, you know, it was stupid at the time, but looking back now, it's cool that they like, you know, pushed me to start down the path, which eventually leads to me, you know, getting here.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good story, man. So not sharing, is it strength or is it survival?
So I know some people and they think about it totally different. They say not sharing yourself is actually what is that word where you only think about yourself?
Selfish.
Crap. Selfish, yes. So if you're not sharing yourself and feelings and stuff with others, you're actually being selfish.
It's one way to look at it, you know. But I think a lot of people in society, we view, if I don't share this stuff, I'm just strong.
That's probably the biggest perception.
And so,
for sure.
But and in my opinion, it's a complete bullshit lie. strong people, and maybe, and because I have thought this, and I haven't got it all figured out, so because I'm saying this doesn't mean that I'm like, I got it. I've kicked this in the ass. It means as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about it like, yeah, because a sign of strength is being transparent. Because if I'm completely transparently me, what are you going to fucking use against me? You know what I mean? You got ADHD. Yeah, no fucking shit. I wrote shit about that. You know what I mean? There's nothing. I think keeping it inside is a sign of weakness. It's cowardice. It's childish.
I agree.
But the other way is a lie. Because you can't process mental health issues without getting it out there.
Yeah, my brain would argue that, but I know that arguing is that I know that thought is wrong, but I can never get out of that loop. I always think I can solve it in my mind myself. I quickly did what is strength
mean? But you saying that right there though, man, is getting it out there.
It's part of it's a skill you have to develop. Like, so I know it's a thing, but it doesn't happen all the time because you have to keep training it, and it's like a muscle in your brain that you just have to engage, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of these things you can learn, right, through therapy, but there's also other mental health things that I can't relate to, like schizophrenia, that I don't know enough about that stuff, so I would never speak to it. I just assume that you can't just do therapy for that,
Right.
But most people don't suffer with that. Most people suffer with the shit that we're talking about: anxiety, depression, ADHD, addiction, isolation. Whatever. That stuff you can treat for sure. And depression, I think my wife, she takes some medication to handle depression, but that's also very, very treatable. So let me ask you this, Matt.
I struggle with that a lot because, just like therapy, I've been on and off medication 15 years probably, and different ones. And early on is when I was fighting the alcohol problem. So was it really working? Who knows? But I had gotten feedback that makes me feel like a zombie, or I was like a zombie, right? And that's why everyone thought I was cooler with the alcohol. But you think back, oh, it was just their excuse for me to be the party guy. But now, like without the alcohol, with the medication, it's different. It's like I tell them it's like I'm flatlined and it's down here. I don't experience the highs anymore, but I also don't get the lows, and it's just like I'm constantly flat. And I don't know, I kind of miss the really highs. I don't miss the real lows, but like, how do we get that higher? And that's where I'm trying to work out and exercise, and maybe that helps. We're still trying to figure it out.
So that flatline is another way to say that, just numb.
Yes, that'd be a way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've definitely felt that before as well. Like when I was in one of the few, with this current therapist, we were working through feelings. He's like, "So tell me about your feelings." I'm like, "I don't have any feelings." He's like, "What?" He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not excited. I'm not depressed. I'm not angry. I'm just like here." And it was an interesting process to work through, because it's like It turns out I had feelings. I didn't recognize the feelings because I got so used to ignoring the feelings. And when I did recognize the feelings, I didn't know what they were. So I had to actually learn feelings. He had to show me, like, anger is this.
with a
I'm like,
chart and
oh,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, anger is this. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's what that is? Shit. All right. Yeah, I've been angry. You know,
Just
this
like
is,
me.
this is
You know my
disappointment. I'm like, what? Oh, fuck, that's disappointment. Okay, yeah, I've had that too. It was like grade school for emotions. It was weird.
and I don't think we ever did that. I think you're just supposed to figure it out. But so my
I wasn't figuring it
therapy.
out. I wasn't figuring it out. And I think my therapist was losing patience.
So in my therapy, we every like 90 days we have to make a plan or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
every time on my plan it says Matt wants to feel the feels. He doesn't know what they are. It's the same exact thing. Like I just don't. Am I happy? I don't know, dude. Like I don't.
What's what's happy? Tell me what that
And
is. It's like, oh, that here's some examples of happy. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, okay, I've done that.
and I probably have an opportunity to do more work to like sit down with the stuff and like start identifying like the things. But the
Mm-hmm.
first thing I'm trying to do is actually like use the words in context to like try and create a connection. But yeah, I wonder if anybody else struggles with that. Like, do other people actually know they're happy? Like, that'd be really cool to be able to do.
Well, here's the thing that just popped into my head as we're talking about this. Maybe one of the reasons why people don't share is they don't know what to share. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I'm not okay, but I'm also not bad. I don't know what I am. You know, maybe you could help me figure that out a little bit. You know, I think that's maybe part of it too. Or sometimes for me, it's been a really slow burn. Meaning it wasn't like it wasn't obvious. It was just a really slow burn. It was over the course of this happened during COVID to me, where just slowly, 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 and then my wife, said, "You're off." I'm like, well, what do you mean I'm off? I don't feel off. I'm doing shit. I feel good. What's up? She goes, "You're just off. Like, I don't know what it is, but you're not the same over the last 3-4 months. You're different. And I'm concerned about it." And I was like, whatever. You're just being a crazy wife. Go back. Leave me alone. And then we went to Sturgis. And when I got into South Dakota, who didn't have the mask mandate, didn't have, social distancing and this other
Or
stuff.
super spreader, super spreader.
I know, but that was, as soon as I did that, like immediately it made sense. Like, holy fuck, I really did slide. You know what I mean? I slid quite a bit, to be honest. So
I
anyway, can you think of a time when you said I'm fine when you weren't?
oh yeah, like I just went through this in the last 2 weeks. Like you said, it's a slow burn. I've probably been slow burning for probably 3 months, I guess, 2, 3
Really?
months. Ever since my brother passed, probably. And one of my coworkers, really cool dude. He reached out to me on a Friday afternoon. He's like, "Hey man, a couple of guys were like, what's going on? They think you're off." I'm like, "No man, I'm good. Just busy and got a lot of things going on. I'm good." Then we had a thing that we had to work through for like 3 days straight, working on that, and then what day is it? Thursday, so fucking 2 days ago, I probably did not use my best judgment in a corporate full team setting, and yeah, pretty much almost like had a, I guess you could say it was like a meltdown probably in front of everybody. So now we get to deal with all of that in the office. Go work.
Well, I mean, and the key is to try to get, I think as we continue to grow and be more honest with ourselves and acquire more tools to take care of ourselves mentally, I think the key is to try to take care of it before those things happen.
Right. So
You know,
like I thought, see, I think everything I'm doing is part of it. I'm just exhausted because I'm working out too much. Like I literally am probably taking like no days off between all the things I have going on, but at the end of the day, it's like I still got time. I'm still sitting around for 4 hours by myself. I'm still recharging, but it's probably not as much as I need, and I'm not willing to give myself that grace because I'm a Marine and I just have to go.
well, and recharging has nothing to do with not doing anything. Recharging has to do with replenishing, right? Physically, getting the rest you need, mentally, processing the mental shit going on, not ignoring it, not medicating it, and spiritually, wherever you go for spiritual health, whether it be Jesus, Allah, I don't know, but those things, that's recharging, and
It's interesting that you went
easier
through
said
that
than
list
done.
because one thing I did change this year is I moved my therapy from twice a month to once a month
Hmm.
because it's less expensive. So I
That's
wonder
a
if
thing
that
too.
is that could be a thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, man. And who knows, right? I mean, the thing, when you love your friends, you love your family, you just want them to be healthy. I mean, I just want, like, I think of my wife, and same thing with her to me. I just want her to be healthy. I know that if she's healthy, she's going to be living a great life. If she's physically healthy, she'll live longer, she'll have energy. All these things play off each other. If she's mentally healthy, she'll be living a more vibrant life. She'll be exploring, adventuring, doing whatever it is, but not trapped in this bullshit fucking head that we have. We've all got
Mhm.
these minds that tell us shit, and some of the shit is good shit. Some of the shit is bullshit, and sometimes I really have trouble discerning between the two,
Oh, it,
like,
it mixes real well.
right. And it's like sneaky, I don't, it's hard to explain, read the blog posts and maybe it'll make more sense, but it leads to things when I don't talk to people, and you have to talk to people. I mean, you can't process some of the things that we process by yourself. You just cannot fucking do it. I don't know
I
how
do a
I would.
lot of that. I don't want to bother people excuse. That's what I do a lot.
Well, and the sad thing, I mean, have you lost friends to suicide?
I have, yes.
Yeah, and I have as well. And every time it's happened, it's like I wish I would have known. I wish somebody would have. I wish he would have fucking said something. I wish. Yeah, I wish I would have known. I would have tried to help. I would have, but I never even had that. I never even got that fucking opportunity. Or in one case, I did know. I didn't say anything. I didn't help. Now you can't fix people, so you can't carry that weight either. You can't be thinking to yourself, well, my friend committed suicide and I didn't help them, so I'm going to feel guilty about that and I'm going to live with that shame, and that's bullshit. You can't do that. But and I've explained to you, it was after the last episode, you and I had a personal conversation, and I told you I heard this thing from a pastor once, and he told me the difference between guilt and shame. And he simplified it and put it in that pastorally way. He said, guilt comes from Satan, shame comes from, or conviction comes from Jesus, which that makes perfect sense to me, that because I speak that language. But it's essentially, guilt is bad, conviction is good, right? So guilt is something that like reminds you of the mistakes you made.
So if you're in my example, when I'm sitting in self beat up, that's just guilt. It's
That's
not.
guilt.
Yeah.
Fuck guilt. Not helpful. Now, in my belief system, and you know, you don't have to be a Christian, but when I feel that way, I verbalize it. I say, "Fuck you, Satan." I say it out loud, and people. Normally, there's not anybody around, I don't think, but you know, when I name these kinds of things, it helps me to make it a reality. You know,
I started doing that with my anxiety. We've talked about that when I've been down there, just calling it out in real time. Same thing, because it's otherwise you're just sitting with it, and it's like this fucking sucks.
right, right. And the difference between that and conviction is owning it. Right, I made a mistake. I own it. I'm going to do better next time. I'm going to learn from this. I'm a better human being for having gone through that mistake because I'm not going to repeat it. One is a growth, the other one's a death. So you choose which way you want to go with it. So, you know, when I had, you know, I've had 5, 6 friends, you know, commit suicide over the years. But one really hurt me because I knew stuff and I didn't say anything. I didn't help. I didn't, you know, for whatever reason. And so it was really important for me to know the difference between guilt and conviction, because the guilt piece is I didn't kill him. He killed him. He was suffering. He had to deal with it. I couldn't have saved him anyway. And the conviction is next time when I do know something, I'm going to say something so that I don't have to carry that fucking weight anymore. I got enough weight to carry. I don't need to carry that too. But that's the thing. When you don't talk to people, you don't give them the fucking opportunity to do anything. You don't give them the opportunity to love you. And the fact of the matter is, every single fucking person, even the people that I despise, I would never want to drive me fucking batshit crazy, they're still worthy of love. Every single fucking person ever is worthy of love.
That's a different way to think about what I said earlier about being, you know, if you're not sharing, you're being selfish. Like, if you don't let someone love you, you're not giving them the opportunity either. So you are being selfish.
You're stealing from me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because the road typically, I mean, if you don't process, if you don't work on your mental health, you know, I think the ultimate place is complete destruction, death. I think otherwise it's just a really sad life. It doesn't get better. It's not going to go away. You know, you don't just ignore it. Like, I'm overweight. I'm always going to be fucking overweight unless I stop cutting back on the calories and fucking exercising, right? It's not like it's just going to, one day I'm going to wake up and I'm like, one day I'm going to wake up and be like, I'm just going to wish myself into better, you know, physical condition.
They try to sell that shit though.
Yeah. But it's work, and mental health is work. Dealing with this stuff is work. The benefits are far.
You need to hydrate a lot.
There you go. But the benefits far outweigh the alternative. You know, things that happen if you don't talk about it, if you don't work through it. Burnout. If you've never been there, burnout's a shitty fucking place to be. Anxiety. These silent battles just continue to go on and on and on in your head, and they never stop. They get worse. You know what I mean? The battles then become a war. So, you know, we have this culture though that goes counter to this stuff. We have to acknowledge it. And because another thing about working on your mental health is putting yourself in healthy places, right? I'm an alcoholic. Do you think a healthy place for me is the bar?
No.
You know, and I'm suffering with burnout. Do you think a healthy place for me is a work environment where they continue to drive me hard every single day and I get no rest? I'm on call 24/7. No,
Probably not.
you know what I mean? So you have to put yourself in this place, I think, where, but sometimes you won't even know that shit, you know, unless you're talking about it. Because that's the thing. Like when I'm deep in the shit, I have this, I lose perspective. The smallest things can seem like the biggest fucking problems to me because I can't put it in perspective. Whereas
like
when I talk about it,
you're like in a funnel.
yeah. And when I
Or
talk
it's like
about it,
closing in on you, constricted. That's what I feel.
yeah. And when I talk about it, somebody else can share the perspective and they can point out that this isn't as big of an issue as I thought it was. Like, look at it. Like, oh, fuck, you're right. Why did I think that way? You know what I mean? It's sometimes those things really help. I know that I was talking about that with my, other friend who was dealing with some financial issues. It's like he owes a bunch of money. Okay. I shared my story about losing my house when I was younger, starting FR Secure, lost my house. It was a shitty time for sure. And then there was another time when this was before Marlis and I got married, where she was running the finances, and I don't know what the hell happened, but somehow we hadn't made a house payment in 4 months, and we were $4,500 in the red in our checking account, no savings, and it was Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and I have kids, so it's like, this is going to be a fucked up Christmas for sure. I don't know how we're going to deal with this, but we did deal with it. We're still married. I never took back control of the finances. There was no retaliation against her. Nothing, man. We worked through it, but it was work. But when you share that story and somebody else is going through financial issues, they like, oh, it isn't going to be the end of my fucking life if I lose my house.
There's this exercise that I heard of that you can play out in your mind for scenarios like that. Where like, so say you're in the red in your banking account, right? The whole point of the scenario is to play it out until you die. And when you go down this road and you start naming like all these things that have to happen in order for you to get there, makes it seem how unrealistic it is that it's going to happen, and that can help you work through and process the situation, because it's not the like worst it could possibly be.
Right. But the point is, and the point of the episode is to talk about it. Working through the issues it doesn't ever happen unless you confront the issues. Right. So, and let's talk about this culture though, this culture of overperformance that we have in corporate America and, certainly in information security. It's this culture of always on, alert fatigue, fear of being seen as weak. We're supposed to be the protectors. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to have the fucking answers. So when shit hits the fan, you pick up the phone, you call me, I'm supposed to have answers for that. I'm supposed to work through that. That might be true. That might be part of the job, but where are you going to take the garbage out? You know what I mean?
That's why like, so much of the industry and the culture is around drinking.
Oh yeah. Right.
It's
that's not taking the garbage out.
That's just hiding it.
Right.
It'll come back later.
But I always kind of view it. I mean, now I view it, now that I've learned some of the things I've learned only through sharing, only through other people sharing. Like, you can take, you take in all this stuff and it's garbage. At the end of the day, once you're done with it, it's just like, I'm done with this sandwich. It's garbage. And every once in a while, you have to take out the garbage. You have to take it out. You have to deal with it. You have to put it in little baggies, put it out by the curb so the garbage man can take it away. And that's what I do.
What do you use or to start to realize your garbage bag is full? Don't say you look in the garbage can either.
No, it's talking. It's talking. It's self awareness. It's self honesty. You know, calling out my own bullshit a lot. You know, like, I say I'm doing fine, but I haven't left the house in 3 days. Really? I mean, are you okay, Evan? I mean, I'm having this conversation with myself, or my wife might call it out, like, you haven't left the house in 3 days. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I should go out, you know? So it's those actions that's what I mean by taking out the garbage. It's the healthy things. One of the things I've started to learn, I'm taking a class on meditation. I always thought meditation was like some kind of weird Indian thing that people do, and I'm gonna have to get flexible and you get like yoga pants or something. I don't know. I had all these misconceptions about it, but one of my friends, you know, mentioned how, you know, they're getting benefits out of it, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. You know, I don't know. I'm trying to learn more healthy habits, because I think that's, for me, that's when I say take out the garbage, that's what I mean by taking out the garbage. If you don't do the healthy things, like this always on thing, dealing with shit all the time, people, blah, 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 work, stress, blah, that's all just garbage. It keeps like piling up. And eventually either the garbage just overflows, which means I'm going to lose my shit. I don't know what that, yeah. Or I need to do some healthy stuff to take that garbage out, you know, get my mind back. You know, so it's just the nature of the job. You know what I mean? I can only imagine what it's like to be a police officer or a first responder. That's a lot of garbage, you know, that they have to process.
It's interesting because I was telling somebody, like, during incident response, like, it feels like my entire chemistry changes. I don't know if that's just the way it works, or I'm more aware of it, or if it's from having the experience of being overseas and like it always having to be on, and it's just like it's just a different level, and it's crazy, and it takes like a long time to come back down to normal.
Now, I've shared with you, you know, numerous times. You do enough incident responses, and I see the same thing happen in first responders. I see the same thing happen in police officers. You almost become robotic in it. Like, I've been called out, you know, about not caring, you know, in the middle of an incident response, like, don't you care? I'm like, of course I care. That's why I'm here. I'm like, why would you say that? They're like, well, because you're not freaking out. I'm like, well, would it be better if I freaked the fuck out? They're like, no. But now I'm starting to get what they're saying, because, you know, you've got emotions and you've got logic. You know, to me, it seems like there's like two sides to what's going to drive my behaviors, my decision making. And when behaviors get out of hand, you know, or not behaviors, emotions, I usually do things I regret. You know, like I'm enraged, I'm angry. Well, I fucking just broke something or said something to somebody, but I'm going to regret it later on when the logic comes back. And then you've got the logic side. And I think sometimes when it's just purely logic, it's cold. There's no emotion to it. Um, it's also unhealthy. I think in an incident response, it makes you a good incident responder at the time, but at some point, you have to recognize the emotions. And if you don't have them, that's probably a problem, I think, because we're built with emotions. And so maybe you've just become a master at suppressing emotions, because after an incident response, I think it's healthy to go talk to somebody, to talk to my wife, to talk to a friend, to process the emotions. I don't know. But you see that with first responders. I've seen that with police officers a lot, where they're just numb to it all. You know what I mean? They can go, peel a dead body off a highway after a traffic accident and just go about their day.
Go have sex with their wife.
That ain't normal. I mean,
right.
There's got to be some emotion associated with that. So I think, I don't know, it's like this balance thing maybe, but
it's weird. It's like, it's almost like something, there's like a light switch that just turns on and off.
Yeah.
But is it really off? Or, that's the question.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be that's why that self-reflection, self-honesty thing it's really important. But here's a question for the audience, listeners, think about this and be honest with yourself. What's weighing on you right now that nobody sees? You don't have to manufacture anything. Maybe there isn't anything. But it's a good question to ask yourself, not just now, but regularly. What's weighing on me right now that nobody else sees? And I'll give you an example where I use this.
Is gravity a good answer?
Yeah, I'm just fat. I eat too much. But like that buddy I was telling you about that I talked to today, he had a whole bunch of things. Well, you can't work on a whole bunch of things. I mean, that's a lot of things, man. I mean, which thing? I don't know. So I asked him, like, what's the one thing that feels paralyzing to you right now? Like, it's just, if I don't solve this one thing, I you know what I mean? It just feels like I'm trapped. And he shared with me, it was finances. Like, all right, then it seems like maybe that's our top priority, or we need to get past that somehow. I don't know, because we can't have something in our lives that's paralyzing us. And sometimes when you're so overwhelmed, there's so much fucking shit going on. I don't know which thing is paralyzing me, but that's the important part about talking to somebody about it, is because I can get it all out there. And sometimes I need you to help me, tell me what's paralyzing me right now. I don't know. Or just talking about it makes it like, helps me to put it in perspective and like, okay, this is the one thing right now that's just fucking up everything. And when we can work through that, if there's another thing, then let's work through that. But when you're overwhelmed, when you're in that burnout world and you're being attacked from all different directions, you can't do it all at the same time. You just can't. I've tried. I keep trying. You know what I mean? That's one thing. One fucking thing. That's it. And the good thing about when you get to that one thing is when somebody else asks me to do another thing, my answer is pretty easy. No, I can't. I got to do my one thing. You know what I mean? And if they don't understand that, or they're not going to show you the grace to do that, well, then so be it. It's not on me. I got to, anyway. So that's the question to the listeners. What's the one thing? Is there a one thing? There might not be a one thing, but what's weighing on you right now that nobody else sees? And the follow-up question to that would be, who should see it? Who's going to help me? It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of honesty. It's a sign of integrity to let somebody else help me. So anyway, that's that piece. So beyond that, what can we do? What can we do about this? I mean, I think I'll start. One of the things we can do about this is we can talk openly about this, just like we're doing right now.
I think the more, so for me, it's doing this, it's talking more to the, other people, like my personal trainer and shit like that. But then also like challenging my leadership to bring this forward. Because the answer I always get is, oh, we have resources, go to the website, and then there's a number you can call, you can talk to somebody. Like, not everyone wants to do something the same way. Just like people learn differently. I think you need to have different types of resources for helping people that want to do it a different way.
And I think, and if you can't get that, I think what we need is more truth tellers. We need more space for honesty. We need fewer masks. And that can start with you. That can start with me. Right? I can tell you the truth. And if you're going to get on my ass and fire me or whatever for telling the truth, so be it. It's not a place I wanted to work anyway if I can't be me. Anybody who asks me to be anybody other than who I am, it's ludicrous. It's not healthy for sure. This is me. And I think what we need more in this industry is more people feeling comfortable just being themselves. With all the, there's plenty of, I hope that there's plenty of good things about me that provide value to the people around me. But there's also some shit here, that I need help. And vice versa. I have lots of friends who need help, right? But it comes from truth. Sure, there comes a time when I need resources like, therapists and, doctors and stuff like that. But just truth, man. More truth, more honesty, fewer masks. And the way we create it. Yeah, and I think the way we create it is encourage check-ins that aren't superficial. I fall in that trap too, all the time. Evan, how you doing? Doing great.
Great.
Doing great. I got hemorrhoids and I just stubbed my fucking toe and, but I'm
Every
great,
day's a
man.
Great day.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a saying I heard. I can't remember where I heard it.
Ourselves.
I can't remember where I heard it, but it was a terrible day for the ego is a great day for the soul.
You told me that last week. That's where you heard it.
Is that where I heard it? All right. Yeah, because obviously I've still been thinking about it because it's important. So how do we create it? Encourage check-ins that aren't superficial, number one. Number two, normalize therapy. Normalize it. Sabbaticals. Normalize saying no. It's not taboo.
That's a big one. No one wants to say no and let anybody down, so they just keep taking on stuff. I see that all the time.
But it's got to come with that honesty too, right? No, I can't do it because, I'm trying to keep my life in balance right now. This would put me over the edge, or I'm working on my marriage right now, right? I'm fulfilling all my job obligations. I'm doing all the work that I'm supposed to do. I'm not in a position to take on anything else. It's got to come with this honesty. And people, I think, reasonable people should respect that. I was talking to another friend who's struggling with his marriage. And I'm like, that's your top priority. As a friend who values marriage as much as I do, who values my wife as much as I do, that's my number one priority. So if I was in your spot right now, I'd take a couple of weeks off. You wouldn't hear from me, because I need to focus on that. And if the people around me didn't show me the grace to allow me to do that, so be it. I mean, I'd rather live in a cardboard box with my wife in a healthy marriage than live in this huge house with shitloads of money and have a shitty marriage. You know what I mean? So if you want to fire me and take away all my money, so be it. It's that priority thing maybe. So normalizing therapy, sabbaticals, and leaders. If you're a leader, and the truth is everybody's a leader. You just don't know necessarily who you're leading, maybe. You don't view yourself as a leader. But if you're a parent...
Lead up and lead down.
If you're a parent, you're leading your kids. If you're the head of the household, if you're leading the household. If you got a small team, you're leading the team. If you're in your friend groups, you might be leading a portion of the friend groups. It's not about... When we say leaders, it's not just CEOs of businesses. Everybody's got some leadership somewhere of something that they're doing, but set the tone. Set the tone. If you are a CEO, set the fucking tone. It's on you. Be honest, be transparent, do things like what I'm doing right now, because every single person at FR Secure should feel really comfortable sharing things that they're struggling with on mental health, right? Because it's set from the top. You're not being recorded anymore, Matt, because you have low storage on your shitty laptop.
I don't know what that means.
It means you have a shitty laptop.
It's my work laptop.
You have a shitty work laptop.
How do I fix that?
I don't know. You're the IT guy.
Delete browsing data. Okay.
Delete browsing data. All right. So those are the three things that I would recommend to set this place where people feel comfortable to share. Going back to the original, episode title, we're not okay. And it's okay to say that out loud. Make a place where people can say it out loud. If you're leading and you're not setting the example, man, I would never want to work there. But here's some actionable ideas. You could, depending on who's running the meeting, if you're running the meeting, start a meeting with real check-ins, like real ones. Share the dirt, share the good. You can't force people to share things, and sometimes things are personal. You got to have, obviously some boundaries. But I have one-on-ones. I'll just give you an example in my own life, because that's what this whole series is about. It's about shit that I can speak with authority about. So I have one-on-ones with each member of my executive leadership team. And I don't talk business. I figured if there's a business problem, they would have already brought that shit up. If there's a business problem, you can certainly bring it up in our one-on-one too. But the one-on-one is, I want to know how you're doing. Like, how's life? Stressed out? Traveling too much? Working too much? Marriage okay? Tell me some good shit. The kid won the new dance recital thing. Man, I don't know what the hell you're doing with your damn computer. But Matt's gone now. So now it's just me talking. Matt's unreliable. He has to take out the garbage. All right, so I'll keep talking. What I do with my one-on-ones with the executive leadership team is we just talk about normal things, just talk about life things. Business stuff takes care of itself, but I'd rather you be a healthy person, deal with your mental health issues, deal with your physical health issues, deal with your spiritual health issues long before you worry about business, right? Going back to the priorities. I'm going to have to kick Matt off the podcast because Matt's unreliable. Just going to tell you, oh shit, now he's back. Matt, I just told everybody you're unreliable. I'm going to kick you off the podcast. I already did. and you're back again.
Yes. I found my way back in.
It's always uncomfortable when you're having a conversation with somebody and that somebody just drops. You're just like,
I apologize.
all right, I'm switching from talking to Matt to talking to myself again.
I am kind of a jerkhole like that. It's
Oh,
the
you're a
story of
beautiful
my
human
life.
being. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. You tell Satan to fuck off when you say that shit.
I am living in the I forgot what the fuck we call it already.
Yeah.
My mind
whatever.
is so fucked up.
Get out of it.
Yeah.
All right. So encourage check-ins that aren't superficial. Okay. So starting the meetings with like real check-ins. That's tip number one. Next one is let go of toxic positivity. That's also bad. You got those people,
What is
Matt,
toxic positivity?
do you have somebody in your life that's always positive, that always has something positive to say? The world is fucking burning. They're on fire.
I try to be that person.
Their arm just fell off and they're still preaching positive shit.
I try to be that person at work.
Don't.
Maybe that's part of the problem.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm not going to judge, but toxic positivity doesn't help because it's not real. Things aren't always positive. In what place could you ever live where everything's positive all the time, all the damn time? Like,
no, that's fair.
Like, but I do have people
it's
for sure
I think
that
it's just
I know.
trying to think about to help. Yeah, I never thought about toxic positivity before. I'll have to reflect on that because I'm just trying to can't think of the word, like just make sure everyone's like I'm trying to spread energy. I guess what I'm trying to do is give everyone my energy, which is probably not good either.
No, I don't know, man. I think having, wanting to lift people up isn't toxic positivity. I think toxic positivity is when you don't recognize the reality of the circumstances or the situation and you're still putting a positive spin on it. Like,
you're joking.
Maybe not even joking, but they always have the positive thing to say. Like,
have you ever
I was just diagnosed with I was just diagnosed with cancer. Oh, well, the good thing about that is, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. There's no good thing about that. Maybe there is, but I don't know. I don't need your toxic positivity. What I want you to do, and we'll talk about this when we get to this episode, when we get to the episode of what does real help look like. It's not real help. Real help is acknowledging I'm in a shit spot right now. And I don't even just make me feel not alone right now.
Just listen.
Just listen. And I don't even give a fuck if you listen. Just give off the impression that you listened. You know what I mean? And you haven't been married yet, but women are really big on this. Like, she'll share things with me and I want to fix it. And I was supposed to recognize that I was just supposed to listen. So now I have to ask, is this a listen thing or a fix thing? It's a listen thing. Sweet. You're not going to get any fucking advice from me on this. But anyway, so actionable ideas, do the real check-in thing, let go of toxic positivity. If you're that person, it also makes it really difficult for people to share with you, I think, when it's always positive. Because it's another barrier to entry for me in sharing my negative shit with you is that you're always positive. I don't want to bring you down.
You go back to a lot of people compare themselves. I compare myself with people all the time. You have to check that. And then you take a step back. If I'm always being positive and someone else is then trying to compare themselves against me, then they're not going to want to share. Yep.
Yeah, I can see that. Third thing, build community where honesty is rewarded, not punished. We don't punish honesty. Challenge it for sure, because that's discernment, right? When somebody tells me something, I don't just take them at their word all the time. It's, is this honest? I mean, is this really what the fuck's up? Especially with addicts, by the way, because addicts will share shit with you, but they won't share the real shit with you. They'll share with you the things that are kind of socially acceptable to share. Like, you dropped the ball on this, you fucked up on that kind of stuff. They're like, yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I'll fix that. But they don't share the things like, I drink too much. I have a drinking problem. You know what I mean? It's like addicts. Yeah. So the honesty being rewarded things, it's got to be honest.
Sets the tone.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Real stories. Do you have any real stories, Matt, of times when you've been in a spot, dark spot, and you didn't share? You didn't talk to anybody about it. Can you think of one? And maybe you still haven't shared it. You're like, fuck, I ain't sharing it here.
I already said the one from this week that happened.
But you shared that already. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can you think of a time when you were like stuck in something that you just carried it, probably to a point where it caused some damage before you shared it? I'm trying to look for this, like, what's a positive outcome to sharing shit? What do I get for it?
It releases it. It might not necessarily solve it, but it releases it. One thing I'm carrying right now is like, what the hell am I going to do about my mom? I kind of joke about it because it's toxic positivity. Like, with my brother passing, now he left me to deal with my mom by myself. And she's not in the best of health, doesn't have the best living condition, has like no money. All she wants from me is money, and I don't want to do that. So, like, how do I navigate this situation? And I feel like I've attempted to reach out and communicate. I don't think she can communicate, or she's not ready. So that's a challenge. And I've talked about it in therapy. She actually came to one therapy session. I was trying to make it where we could like talk about her, but it just turned into a me crying session. Talking about, childhood, which, I mean, it wasn't wrong, but it's not what I wanted, which you don't always get what you want, I suppose. Maybe it's what I needed. Who knows? So yeah, that's something I'm dealing with.
That's interesting, man, because you brought that up about it's not what I wanted. Whenever I hear that, I think expectations. You know what I mean? Like, when you go into something without expectations, it's really hard to be disappointed. And because if I didn't, that's how you don't get what you want. That's how you get the disappointment, is because you had expectations going into something, and whatever you didn't meet the expectations. And I'm not analyzing this thing. I'm taking this back to the why we don't talk. Maybe we don't talk sometimes too, because the last time I did it, what I got in return didn't meet my expectations. I didn't get what I wanted out of it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of my own life, like a lot of times I just want, like I said, if I'm in a spot, it takes a lot to get to that spot. When you look back at the times I've been in that spot, it didn't happen overnight. It was like a series of fucking things that happened. You know what I mean? And it just kind of built up, and I get to this point where I'm fucking desperate. And that's when I share. It would have been a lot better if I would have shared earlier on, because I could have saved myself a hell of a lot of trouble, a hell of a lot of anger, frustration, pain, wasted time, all that shit if I just would have shared earlier. But it sucks when you get to that point when I do share, and I went into this sharing with expectations. I'm thinking more of my wife because I think I put this on her a lot more than I should. Like, and she responds the way she responds, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? What was the use of me even telling you this shit? That's all you got?
And you're supposed to save the world, right? That's the
Yeah. So maybe it would help if I went into the sharing without expectations, or
you
I
go in
go
with
into
an
this,
intention
or I,
of just sharing.
or I go into this with communicated expectations. Like, what I want from you right now is just for you to fucking love me as I am.
So what
Busted
if
as fuck, ugly as fuck, overweight as fuck, whatever the hell. I just need you to love me. That's it.
I always struggle with communicating how this works. But what I learned through a class was what we're talking about, right? With expectations, you set the expectation, you're going to get disappointed, or it doesn't work the way you want, you don't get what you want. So instead of creating the expectation, you set an intention. So if you're going into communication, instead of setting the expectation to, have your wife respond a certain way, your intention is to just create love. So that way, no matter what way it goes, you're not disappointed because you know your wife is going to love you.
Well,
As
and
an
how
example.
how unfair is it to the person I'm communicating with to have expectations on their response without telling them what my expectations were?
That's
So
probably the definition of negligent.
yeah, so I think going into sharing either with no expectations, or if I do have expectations, sharing what that expectation is ahead of time. Because if I share with my wife, she's probably my biggest confidant. But let's say I'm talking to you. You were having a personal conversation, and I'm in a spot. And the reason why I'm calling you is because I feel like you're a safe person that I can share it with, and you can probably relate to whatever it is I'm going through a little bit. That's that helps. And the only reason why I would know that is because you had shared your own story, and it's that transparency thing again, right? I know that, oh, Matt's been through something similar to this. I'm going to call him. And then I go into the conversation with like, hey, man, this is what I need. I just need you to listen to me right now. I'm in a bad spot. This is what's going on. I don't need any of your fucking advice. You know what I mean? I don't need you to fix me. I think that's a good way to reach out, because then it's going to be useful for me, because I told
What
you
if you
ahead of
don't
time
know
what
what
I
you
needed.
need?
Well, then say that.
That's fair. So you have three options. I need you to listen, solve my problem, or I don't know what I need. Let's figure it out.
I just got to get some shit off my chest. I'm fucked up right now. Help me out. And
Right.
then you spew it out. And then I think you'll start to learn what the expectation, because it's not uncommon for me to be in a conversation with somebody who's sharing shit with me. And I'll start, thinking I can fix this, hey, try this. Did you try that? And if you're reading the room, or the person I'm talking to will oftentimes say, hey, man, I don't need you to give me any advice. I don't know. It all comes down to that, like, sharing. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. But the whole point is, when you're not okay,
Say something.
you gotta fucking say something to somebody. And if you don't have that somebody, then fucking pick up the phone and call me. I probably won't answer because I suck at answering phone calls. But I mean, there's got to be somebody, right? You just don't maybe know who that is. I don't know. But that's interesting though, because so say we're not okay. What I'm interested to hear what your opinion is on this, Matt. What does not okay, and this is good for the listeners too. What does not okay look like for you?
So if I'm thinking through recent days, not okay is probably when shit's just not working. Like I can't leave the house without forgetting my keys. I can't take something out of my bag without dropping something. Like shit is just not working when normally I got my shit together. I'm locked in. I know where everything is. Like it's squared away. So for me, it's just like disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
I don't I don't think there is any standard like not okay for me. I think it's a question that I need to think about more so I can identify it more. I think it's something that I need to, get more honest about because I don't think I'm really good at identifying when I'm not okay. I often need somebody else to tell me I'm not okay. But, you know, times when I haven't
It's
reached
okay
out
to
to
not be
people,
okay.
I know, but times when I don't times when I haven't reached out to people that I should have, it's when I'm just like lost. Is usually like I don't know what the fuck to do. Like for whatever reason, or I'm overwhelmed with just like the onslaught of shit I got to deal with, or there's lots of different not okays. I think what's generally not okay is when I'm not happy. Maybe not that happiness is always the goal, but it's like a persistent not happy.
I have to be able to identify if I am happy first.
Yeah,
Can't feel
that's
the
that's
feels.
that's a challenge too.
You know what's not okay is when you pick up your phone and you just start touching it and moving shit and you have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
You
You
know
just
what's
open
also
an
not
app
okay is when your storage runs out of fucking storage. It's not
on your
okay.
browser cache.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
browser
not okay.
cache. Right.
That's
But I
uh,
think
that's what
so.
happens when you don't use the right laptop.
Right. So, so that's a question. So there's been a couple questions for the listeners. Number one, what's weighing on you right now that nobody sees? And be honest with yourself. Maybe there's nothing, but chances are there's something, right? And just think about it. And then the second question is, what does not okay look like for you? I can't answer that for you. I can answer that for me. And like I said, I think I need to think about that a little bit more because I don't think I have a good answer to that. The third question is, what helps you feel grounded or hopeful again? Matt, you
Hmm.
start. I'm putting
I
you on the
used to,
spot
so
all night.
recently I was thinking just do more shit. Go do another workout, do more work, but that's probably the not right answer. Um, probably, and it's the weirdest thing. Probably sleep,
There you go.
even though we sleep like a quarter of our lives or whatever. Sleep just makes me feel good.
Well, in the what helps you feel grounded and hopeful again for me is when somebody can show me or encourage me to find the light in it, whatever I'm in, and so safety, you think somebody like is big, strong, tough, broken bones, crashed
College swimmer.
motorcycles, done all this shit like that. I don't I don't need safety. No, I fucking need safety. You shit me? And I think what makes me feel grounded is when I feel we're grounded and hopeful. Again, is it's interesting that last question, religion. It is ultimately it comes down to that. Often, it's Jesus. Um, but it's a relationship thing. It like I'll get up in the morning. Like I can tell myself, and my wife can tell when I haven't done my morning devotionals for a while because I'm not grounded. I am. It just changes me. So that's a good point. That's a good reminder that that does help me feel grounded and hopeful again. Just that it's going to be okay. That it's going to be okay. I lose my house. It's going to be okay.
That's
my
definitely a gap that I have. I've been working on physical, mental health, but the whole spiritual piece is just still discovery.
yeah. And my encouragement to you is the same as I've given to everybody that's ever struggled with that. Keep seeking the truth. Don't stop seeking the truth. Keep asking why. Keep seeking the truth. It's a hole that everybody has that has to be filled. In my opinion. All right, so those are the three questions for listeners. Number one, going back, is what's weighing on you right now that nobody sees? Number two, what does not okay look like for you? And number three, what helps you feel grounded or hopeful again? And I'll remind everybody the whole point with this episode is it's okay. Not okay. I mean, it's okay. It is what it is, I guess. But we're not okay. What's not okay is sitting in silence. What's not okay is listening to the voice in your head that says, nobody gives a shit. Nobody's going to get it. You can't share. Got to keep the persona up. You're going to lose your job. Fuck that. That's all bullshit. To me, I'd be like screaming like fuck off Satan and all that stuff. So it's okay to not be okay. What's not okay is staying silent about it. Matt, you got anything to add before we close this thing up? Because we're going to do the next episode next week, and it'll be awesome because we're going to talk about, about being strong on the outside, dying on the inside.
I can't think of anything else to add right now. I think this was great. Love exploring.
If nothing else, man, if there wasn't a single listener, there wasn't a single person who watched this episode, it was like you and I just had an honest therapy episode together. You know what I mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that. High five. There you go, brother. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. We're going to talk about next week's episode is, what was it again? Do you remember?
Strong on the outside.
Dying on the inside.
And dying on the inside, yes.
That's right. Episode 32.
I will actually have notes for next week. I believe I was not. My last week was just a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine too, man. And it's something we should share, something we should talk about more. But it was a good episode. It was good therapy for me. I appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate you. Have a good night, everybody.